Parshas Emor. This week's Parsha discusses the Jewish holidays, starting with Pesach, Shavuos, then it goes to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and it ends with Sukkos. In discussing Yom Kippur, there's a recurring phrase. This is in Perek Chav Gimel, which is chapter 23, and the passage about Yom Kippur is from verse Chav Vav through Lamed Beis. That's 26 through 32. There's a recurring phrase. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. Hashem says to Moshe, saying, Ach, be'asor lachodesh hashavi'i hazeh Yom HaKippurim hu mikra kodesh yelochem. So on the 10th of the 7th month, that's the month of Tishrei, that's the 10th of Tishrei, which we know is Yom Kippur. So it's Yom HaKippurim, it's the Day of Atonement. It's a holy, designated as a holy time. V'inisem es nafsho sechem, v'kravtem ishe lashem. You will, and now I'm going to translate using the Art Scroll translation, you will afflict yourselves. V'inisem es nafsho sechem. Okay. And you will bring an offering. Then the verse in 29, that's Pasuk Chav Tes, says, Kichol hanefesh yeser lo su'uneh ba'etzem hayom hazeh. And every life, soul, nefesh, which will not be afflicted, according to this translation. And we see it again. The final verse in this is Lamed Beis, which says, Shabboson hu lachem. It is a super Sabbath, day of complete rest for you. The ini semes nafshel sechem. Again, you shall afflict yourselves. Now let's examine this. First of all, what is the affliction? So we know that there are chamisha inuyim. There are 5 inuyim. That's the plural noun of the ini sem, and you shall afflict. So we're just going to go with this translation for now. We'll offer a different one in a little bit. The chamisha inuyim are the 5 types of afflictions, and they are no eating, no drinking, no wearing leather shoes, no marital intimacy, and no smearing with cream on one's body. So those are things you're not allowed to do on Yom Kippur. What's this notion of afflicting yourselves? I'd like to suggest that there is a different understanding that's possible of this phrase, and we have to look at both the 2 words v'inisem and nafsho sechem. So v'inisem is lashon inui. We see this concerning the Egyptians. Vayireo asanu hamitzrim vayanunu. The Egyptians dealt with us badly, and they anunu. We're going to get to that. We could go for now with and they afflicted us. Now let's look at a verse in Bereshis, in which Hagar flees. Hagar is Avram's concubine, a shifcha, a maidservant for Sarah, and the Torah tells us that after Hagar got pregnant, she viewed Sarah in a much lighter way. So it says, "Vatera ki harasa vatekal gvirta beineha." She saw about herself that she was pregnant, and as a result, her perception of Sarah's authority, perhaps, was lessened. And and then the Torah continues and said that Sarai and Avram have words about how to treat Hagar, and Avram says, treat her as you wish. It says, "Vata'aneha Sarai vativrach miponeha." Sarai did inui of Hagar. What does that mean? So our scroll doesn't translate it as afflicted her, but it does say that she dealt harshly with her. Now let's look at what happens. So she runs, and the Malach Hashem, an angel of God, intervenes and asks Sarah what's going on, and Sarah says, Hagar says, "I'm running mipnei giviti from my boss," and the Malach, the angel, tells her, "Shuvi el givitech v'hisani tachas yadeha." Go back to your mistress, and now here our scroll changes its translation and says, "Submit yourself to her domination." I would like to suggest that inui, it may mean affliction in many cases, but it also may mean to be to be ma'aneh somebody, means to submit them to your control against their will. And we see this very starkly in Sefer Devarim, that's in Parshas Cited, where it talks about a man who rapes a woman and how she is to be compensated for it. And it says a couple of times, it says, Tachas asher al davar asher ino eshes reo. It uses the language of ayin nun hey, of inui. He forced himself upon the wife of his friend, and it says it also about a young woman. It says that tachas asher ino lo yuchal shachla koyamav. Because he forced himself on her, that he's not allowed to separate from her unless she wants. Okay, so we get a sense that inui means to subject someone or something to your domination, your control against their will. Okay, let's go with that one for now. Now, what is this nafsho sechem? So we know that there are many cases in the Torah. Nefesh can mean a life. It can mean a soul. It's probably translated incorrectly as soul more times than not. It can also mean ratzon, a desire. Im yesh es nafshechem, this is talking about Avram burying Sarah. This is in Bereshis Chav Gimel Ches, that's 23:8. Im yesh es nafshechem likvoros mesim el fanai. If you want me to bury my deceased before me. Or in Sefer Yirmiyahu in Jeremiah, this is in Perek Tesvav Pasuk Aleph, that's 15:1. It says, Ein nafshi el ha'am hazeh. This is God speaking. I would have no desire for this people. Again, nafshi, my desire. In Iyov, v'nafsho ivso vayoas. This is in Chav Gimel, Yud Gimel, 23:13. What he desires, he does. We also have in other places where the Meforshim, in these places and others, the Meforshim, including Rashi, including the Mitzudos, including the Radak, translate nefesh as ratzon. So if we view it that way, then we see that v'inisem es nafsho sechem means control your will. You want to do certain things. You want to eat. You want to drink. You want to wear certain type of clothing. You want to be intimate. You want to address the uncomfortable feeling on your skin with some kind of cream. Don't do it. Control yourself. Why? What's so important about this? Well, what's Yom Kippur about? Yom Kippur is a day of atonement. For what? For bad choices. For a failure to control oneself. What's the kapara? What's the atonement? There are many aspects to it. One of them is to control yourself. Now, the challenge is that when one approaches Yom Kippur, it's sometimes depressing because you go before God, you go to shul, you say, I'm going to be better. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do tshuva, which includes a resolution, a resolve, not to repeat the mistaken ways and to control yourself and to do the right thing. And you get depressed. You get depressed because you say, I try and I try and I try and it doesn't work. So Yom Kippur is not just a day on which we approach God with feelings of regret and wishes to change our lives, but it's also a little bit of a laboratory. It's a little bit of a proof of concept. What's the proof of concept? You think you can't control yourself. You want to eat, we all want to eat. You want to drink, we all want to drink. For 24 hours, control your desire. The inisem es nafsho sechem. You will submit your desire, which does not want to be controlled. You will submit your desire to your control. You will subjugate your desire for a higher purpose. And what's the lesson we learn? If we go through Yom Kippur and we feel the elation of having controlled ourselves during Yom Kippur, and we have that feeling of joy at the blowing of the shofar, at the end of the day of prayer, we've demonstrated something to ourselves. We've demonstrated that even the most basic needs that we have, the desire to eat and drink, we can control it. And if we can control that, we can probably do a much better job of controlling our other desires. V'nisem es nafsho sechem. Control your desires for a successful Yom Kippur and for a successful life. Have a good Shabbos.